Hello everybody, and welcome back to a brand new video. Now, recently there was a RuneScape data stream. They do these around once a year, not even sometimes, and I really like having a look at statistics, especially for RuneScape. So I thought it'd be fun to have a look over the data stream because I know a lot of people don't actually watch it, but I think you might find it interesting. There are a couple of really important and interesting pieces of information, like the amount of gold removed from the Duel arena attacks, the amount of GP traded per day, the amount of pets that people have, stuff like that. So there is about 50 different slides of data. I might not be going over each one of them. However, I have collected all of the slides. So if you are interested, I will post them as a Imgur link in the description, so you can look at them yourself if I don't cover everything. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's get started. Now, first up here we have the average active playing time for pay-to-play players. Now it says from the last 28 days, but that is data that they've drawn from the last 28 days. This number is total playtime on the account. So the total playtime is around 733 hours with a total level of close to 1400 and an average combat level of 94. Now in the live stream they thought this was kind of low, but for me I thought that was kind of high. I guess I kind of assumed there would be more complete noob accounts that had been made in the last couple of days that would really draw down the average more, but kind of just goes to show that the active player base is kind of one that has been here a long time, and there are probably less new players because 1400 total level, that's still quite a time investment, especially at 25 million experience. The total hours played by all players is 2.5 billion hours. Now, if you were interested in years, that is 285,000 years of playtime. I'm pretty sure Homo sapiens didn't even exist at that point, so you know what, that's pretty impressive. Okay, so now there's a slide for the most popular house style. The most popular one being the default one, that kind of makes sense. The Deathly Mansion one is surprisingly high for a Halloween event. And one kind of interesting piece of information on here is the amount of twisted blueprints that were at least active is around 4,842. Now that does not exactly equate directly with how many blueprints are in the game, but it is kind of a rough estimate. If I were to guess, I would say there's maybe 2,000 or 3,000 more just from people holding them as an investment, but we don't know for sure. Okay, so now for one I'm personally really interested in, and that is the Grand Exchange. GP traded per day is at 5,248 bill, which means in a year 1,915 trillion GP is traded per year. That is crazy. Now that doesn't mean that's how much GP is in the game by any means, that is just GP trading back and forth, but still that is a ridiculous amount of gold traded. Okay, next up here we have trades per day, which is 3,450,918. And with those two numbers, we can calculate the average value of a trade, which is about 1.5 million. That seems pretty accurate to me considering that some people are buying a singular item for very cheap, and some people are trading twisted bows. 1.5 mil seems like a pretty decent mid-ground. Okay, next up here is a big one that a lot of people want to know about, and that is the effect of the Duel arena tax. Now this number is the amount of gold removed since the inception, and it is 17,443,983,108,215 gold. Now during the stream, somebody mentioned that this number here is higher than the total amount of gold in the entire game a few years ago. So like in 2015, the total amount of gold in the game was actually less than this Duel arena tax has removed in, I guess, 561 days so far. Now this means on average, the Duel arena tax takes out around 31 billion GP every day, which is a really substantial amount. This is probably one of the most important updates we've ever gotten. 31 billion taxing people who are just wasting their time at the Duel arena, I think is the perfect way to have a gold sink, and I think it was a huge success. Okay, next up here we have hardcore Ironman deaths at around 180,000 since the game mode started. Now the game mode was released back in 2014, which is almost 2,000 days ago, which means on average around 92 hardcore Ironmans die every day, which is actually kind of less than I thought. Okay, the total number of account bans is around 15 million, which means they are removing bots from the game. Clearly people are getting banned, the accounts just get remade very quickly. Okay, next up here there is a really interesting one, and that is the average clue scroll reward. Now they've broken it down into two sections. The mean average, which is if you added up all of the totals, all of the drop rates, and just averaged how much you would get per clue. Now to get this average, you need to do thousands and thousands of clue scrolls to hit those rare items, as the rare items really bring the average up. However, they also have the median, which is kind of more true to what your average clue scroll is going to be worth. So it's weighted more towards the more common items. For example, the mean average for an easy clue scroll is 51,000, which is kind of high, but there are some valuable items in there. They're just very rare. But the median is 4.6k. Same thing for mediums and hards. They're actually pretty close for the mean. However, the median is about 14,000 for medium clue scrolls and 90,000 for hards. And masters, the mean is 887,000 and the median is 359,000. Now, one interesting question that somebody asked is, has anyone ever gotten 3 times Ranger boots in a single casket? And the answer is no, no one's ever done that. However, around 140 people have gotten 2 Ranger boots at once, including one person who got them twice. So they got 2 Ranger boots twice, that's crazy. Okay, here's a list of the 10 most common pets, which kind of are weighted towards the more skilling oriented pets like the heron, the beaver, the pet kraken's up there as well though. And we have the lowest total pets. One big surprise here is the nightmare pet is actually already more common than 9 other pets in the entire game, even though the content is very new. And the least common pet is the inferno pet, very closely followed by the gauntlet pet, and surprisingly the Sarachn's pet. I don't know why that one is so uncommon, as the boss is pretty easy to kill. Now, the most killed boss by far is Zulrah, and unsurprisingly Kraken. They have twice as many kills as any other boss. Now, they both have been in the game for a long time, but still twice as much as any other boss is pretty crazy. Now, the least killed boss is the Inferno, Mimic, and the Gauntlet hard mode. Okay, so now there are some new stats on the Nightmare. The total kills are 1,669,000, and the total deaths are 243,000, which means roughly people are dying 1 in every 6 kills or something like that. I'm sure that's going to go down as people get used to it more. Okay, so here are some record times for different bosses. The new Nightmare, 2 minutes and 28 seconds. Very, very quick. Zulrah is 32.4 seconds. I'm pretty sure my best record is like just under a minute. Vorkath is 39 seconds. It does take a bit longer, although people have had less time to try to get the best time also. Hydra is 1 minute and 5 seconds. Again, the boss kill time could be a bit higher, or people have just had a lot less time to try to break the record. The quickest chambers of Zarek, which they say here is unofficial, they didn't actually grab it from a data point, they just had it confirmed, and there's a runtime of 9 minutes and 48 seconds. The quickest Theater of Blood is 13 minutes 12 seconds. That is very, very quick. Okay, so next up here we have the most skipped Slayer task, which by percentage is the Water Fiend. Yep, never done that task ever. After that is the Tazar, which a lot of people are saying is because you can get an auto skip on that just by entering the fight caves and leaving. And then Kriara, Spiritual God Wars, and then, you know, a lot of the other random bosses. However, if it's by the amount of skips, Black Demons is actually the most skipped task. Now, if we're looking at the completionist capes, 61,760 people have the quest point cape. Only 15,000 people have the achievement diary cape, which is very surprising. And only 11,000 people have the music cape. However, only 4,500 people have all 3 capes, very uncommon, which means they are less common than max capes, which is very surprising. Okay, the lowest combat infernal cape currently is 46 combat, which I think is from Exact's run. So impressive, 46 combat. How is that even possible? Okay, here's the total 99s per skill, strength being the most popular at 231,000, and runecrafting and agility being the 2 least common at around 18,000 apiece. I'm actually kind of surprised that smithing is so low there because it's a pretty quick training method, and there are even pretty profitable ways to train smithing. I thought there'd be more 99s for smithing. Okay, the most popular 200 mil per skill is by and large cooking, which has 892 200 millions, where the next most common one is thieving with 285. Again, runecrafting being the least common at 24. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. Smithing has gotten a big boost up to around 6th or 7th place. So smithing is very quick, it's just not very cheap. Now there are about 5 or 6 more slides, but they're all on Twisted League, and I think I'd just rather keep the information related to the main game. If you are interested, once again, there will be an album in the description. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the RuneScape stats. Some of the more interesting ones is of course the dual arena attacks. So much money taken out of the game from that. We now have a fairly up-to-date statistic for how much GP is traded per day and per year, which is really good to know. And I also kind of think the average value per transaction is a pretty interesting statistic to have. So yeah, most of the data is just kind of fun to look at, but I think there's actually a few pieces that could actually be useful just to know in the back of your head for either flipping or future trends. Anyway guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, I would appreciate it if you took the time to leave the video a like. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.